എൻ്റെ പേര് കോശി. ഫേമിൻ്റെ പേര് കോഷിഷ്. Koshish, which also means hard work in Hindi. Koshish karna hai. So we're a firm where we try to do good architecture. We got recognized nationally and internationally on our project. We've got shortlisted for this project. The story of 14,585 tiles. So we'd like to thank IIA for this opportunity. We got recognized for some hard work done by a team of professionals. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. It's very humbling, and I've in fact learned a lot from these wonderful presentations and the work that has been showcased. I just like to give all glory to God for this opportunity. Personally, this image that you see is one of the projects very close by the convention centers we did, and this was a project where we had to kind of remove a lot of material which was not required at that point, and we got to use it. And that was also a juncture in my personal life where we had to rethink about professional life and family life. So this particular project is very emotional to me, to the fact that it was the first project of the office, and also it was a turning point in every way. And any walk of life, whenever you start your journey, you always ask yourself a lot of these questions. Like can space reflect one's character? Can old materials be given a second life? Can we create timelessness? So a lot of these questions always keep bombarding your head, and especially when you grow into that profession, and when you see a lot of the stalwarts over here, and when you see people. When you always look up to the work, and then you always, can I do something like that? Can I do better? So all these questions always come, and you always, kind of try to nestle within those chaos, and then try to create that situation where you're thinking, okay, where do we start? And especially at this point, I'm very, how do I say it? It's at a situation where right now, we're always in that professional move, right? Where we go this to left or right or straight or center. And this particular point, we were always questioning ourselves, what do we do? How do we create a space? And luckily, there was this land parcel my dad had in Varakala that we thought we could use, and that's how this happened. To a child, it's always, a house is always a space with a triangle and a square, that's how it is. So what we thought was, if we have that as a metaphor, what is the next thing that we can do? So we thought that we could, lift that space and create another zone over there. And that's how the whole story started. This is our start point. This is what we had. We had a lot of these tiles that we had. We had a lot of these broken windows. We had a lot of these twisted sections. A lot of these materials which the client fortunately didn't want was actually a seed for us. We said, okay, if you don't mind, can we use it? And a lot of you will know the Chakola Convention Center. So Martin was fortunate enough to give us this material, and so that we could use it. So what you see on the slide over here is actually how we reused all those materials. All these materials are about 100 years old. A few of them are even old. Much older. Then a lot of these sections that you see are actually fused together and created as, we used it as columns, we used it as floors, we used it as windows, we used it as doors. So everything was used. I think about 10% of the building is new. And like a lot of the presentations I saw, where you create life out of a famished thing, I think materials can be given a chance again, and that's what we try to use over here. The floor plans, I don't want to bore you at this point of time with all these architectural drawings, but what you see over here and what you have over here is how the whole structure has started. I'll run you through a small video of how we actually built, we used this video. In fact, nobody has seen this till date. In fact, it's a video without model, so this is how the whole project had started. But it's just showing you how the whole 6-month ordeal with old sections and all went on. And in fact, this was a very bad time-lapse video, but I think every project one always enjoys the whole process and the whole evolution of how things started. So this is how it all started. We used to get materials from scrapyards, we used to get materials from the neighborhood, and then that's how we kind of built this. I think the whole process was very fulfilling, and that's how the whole project is. And I thought IIA Cochin should see this video first because I've not shown this anywhere, and it's an honor. In fact, I'm very nervous standing over here because I have my super seniors Abhishek and Vijit over here. I don't know if Fahad is here. And I was the orphan in the class, in the school. They were my super seniors. I also always used to look up to them. So I'm I'm very nervous standing here amongst a lot of people over here. I have my colleagues over here. I have Akhil. I have a lot of people I know personally. And a guy like me, given an opportunity like this, I'd like to. What you see over here is actually done by two trainees who were part of our office. One is Roshit, who was an SCMS, and one is Rizwan. Both of them, Roshit and Rizwan, are the guys who actually brought this project to life. And I can never take a presentation on my own without mentioning their names over here. All the drawings and all this presentation that you see was all made after the structure was done, because we never started with a preconceived idea. All that we knew what we wanted to do was we just wanted to lift the structure. One of the things I want to really, what I learned from this whole process was people who work on the site, they have a very different tacit feel when it comes to materials. And that's something which, I don't know whether a drawing would show that or whether theory would teach it. I've always realized, when you get a material, when a welder holds a rod, he has something which tells him that, this rod can take this weight. I don't know, that tacit sense of material is something very different, and that's very innate. And I think that's something that we all should kind of enjoy and learn that. And then I would remember, they would say, Sara, idu nikkathilla. So then they would say, Chalva, Randana urmichu vecha nikkim. So that whole journey was very fulfilling, and I think that's how it worked. In fact, a lot of this that you see over here was all, as work went on site, we just went with the flow. I don't want to bore you with. So this is just a part of it and how that happened, but I'll just run through the finer details quickly. I hope I'm not. So this is where that particular point. So this is how we started the whole thing, and this is a sectional cutaway how we were able to achieve this. I think a whole slender structure with so much of a repetition of just two materials, I think that helped a lot, and that took us through. All that you see here in red and in this terracotta color is what we used, the tiles. And the good thing about tiles is we actually were able to source these tiles from about 4 locations. And about 7,000 tiles was actually taken from Chakolas Pavilion. And the rest was from 3-4 houses which are about 8 kilometers away. But the best thing about these tiles is some of these tiles have already crossed generations and generations. So you see some of the tiles with names of 1980, 1905, it goes on like that. So there are a lot of stories. And then one of the things which I always tell everybody is, every tile has a story, and each individual like us has a story. So there are people in the office, sometimes they write their names on each tile. So there's a lot of personal attention and personal touch with this. There's a lot of varied scales we were able to achieve because of the materials that we got. But I think the whole feel of a building where you can touch the roof, the wall, the floor, you can feel space is always very encouraging. And I think architecture in that way was, this is an experiment. So I think we were able to kind of get certain feels like that character in red, and that's my son, that's my dog on the side. Now see, these photos are taken by Justin, and he took this about 4 years back. The whole space is kind of changed now with the trees grown. On the right there's a building we've just done an extension on the other side. So this is how the place looks in the night. Please do drop in, just give me a call before coming in, but please do drop in, it's very close by. If you notice, this is the color palette. We've used the tiles wherever possible. We've used it on these are just challenges. Can one material be used on the floor, the ceiling, the wall, the roof, everything? So I think we were able to do it. It's still standing. These windows, sometimes we open it up, we keep it flat, we put the newspaper, we read, we use it as workstation sometimes. This is how the whole space is. It's the same as of now. The red mat is not, we have our workstations over there. But we've kept it as open as possible, the whole space. I think that whole there's always a sense of time in that because there's a lot of light coming in, there's a lot of movement of, in fact sometimes there are birds flying through the structure. So in that way, I think it's fun, it's not a static space. The circulation is around this central space, so that atrium is what we call it. So everybody is aware of what's happening at every point and all that's all around. Yeah, we have a few kois also. So I think the space and I think the fulfilling thing about this whole thing was we were able to use the old materials. I think that is one thing. And I always tell people, if life has given us so many chances, why don't we give, old materials also another chance? As architects, I think we have chances not to start fresh, but we can also take what was there earlier. The compound wall, and this is how the whole thing is. Things have changed quite a bit. The trees have grown. I think, this is Sharika. Yeah, she had put this. But yeah, this is how the space is. All these trees have grown quite a bit. But I think the whole thing of uplifting one's spirit when you come to a space like this, and that can be achieved through architecture. And this is how it is, and this is how the space gives back in the night. This is how it is. Yeah, that's my son. And I just like to end this with a small story which kind of helped me a lot. When I had this opportunity to stay in IIA Ahmedabad, that particular building was done by IIA Khan, and in the dormitories, I was there for about three days. And the best thing about that whole structure is it's all made of one material and it's all made of. So I stayed there and then I kept on asking. Everybody's so proud of that space. Everybody's so proud of that building. And I asked one of the people who were working there, the staff, "Bhaiya, aapko ye building kyun acha lagta hai?" And he was like, "Pata hai nahi, sabko acha lagta hai." But he stopped for a while and then he said, "Maybe it's because of the brick." So that kind of struck me, because what is it about IIM Ahmedabad that really strikes you is that strong presence of a brick. But then what also comes into it is very intimate in terms of scale. So I think a lot of materials which have a lot of earthy feel can always bring in a feel to us. And I'd like to thank you for the time, and but I'd like to thank you for this opportunity and great going IIA Koshish. Thank you for this time.